Hello everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Wassaf Akhtar, the Chief Technology Officer for Kookiejar based out of Sweden. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Ruchi and Kerabotics team for providing me a platform to speak on this very topic of advanced air mobility, which was coined by Morgan Stanley as a $1.3 trillion industry. And today I'll be presenting to you all a topic on the infrastructure requirements for advanced air mobility. So let me take you back to at least a decade and century ago to understand how these technologies came into existence and what were the underlying infrastructure that was required to support these technologies. We had rail lines, roads, electric lines to support the cars and railways, right? We had power stations, transmission lines, and transformers to glow the electric bulb. We had radars, VOR runways, and ILS systems to support the aircrafts to fly safely. And we had ISPs, the internet service providers and servers, to help different mobile technologies integrate with each other. So now in terms of our transportation system like advanced air mobility, we are moving from an era of 2D transportation system to a 3D transportation system of moving cargoes and passengers inside cities in a matter of minutes instead of hours. And that is a term that we coin it as advanced air mobility. Well, a new industry is on the revolution of, a new industry is on the cusp of revolutionizing urban mobility. And the race is on in developing the integrated transportation system of moving cargoes and passengers from the ground to the skies. What was once just a fanciful concepts in cartoons like Jetsons is now becoming a reality. With the advent of faster computation cycle, cheaper electronics, and lightweight materials, it has become feasible for companies to build these new beautiful electric machines. I was in Bangalore working in Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and I was always traveling to and fro around 15 to 20 kilometers from one point of the Bangalore to another. And I always used to ponder how are these drones and air taxis going to be integrated in our day-to-day lives. And what I found out was that it is very difficult to orchestrate the coordination and management of these new technologies in cities and in urban environments. Now you have these beautiful vehicles, the electric flying taxis coming out in the next 2 years. We have eHang, Lilium, Cora, and Volocopter. And cities in different parts of the globe are getting ready. You have Joby Aviation, for example, from the United States of America, which is an eVTOL aircraft company, looking at the prime markets to deploy their systems in Japan and South Korea, similar to Volocopter in Singapore and eWare Mobility, the Brazilian eVTOL aircraft company, which have looked as UK and US as their prime markets to deploy their systems. And there are more than 200 aircraft developers that are getting ready, and dozens of them are going to get type certified by their respective regulatory authorities like the FAA and the EASA in the next 2 years. So what is the problem now? How do you deploy these technologies in cities? It's a challenging situation, to be honest, because we are creating something out of the blue. We are creating this industry out of scratch, right? And the problem is that the cities and transportation systems in cities are having a legacy system that is just able to support the current mobility systems, but they are not geared towards supporting the emerging core technologies like drones and air taxis. So how do we prepare the cities and municipalities in adopting these new technologies at mass, which is beneficial for the operators to commercialize in a very profitable manner? So what we do at Kookiejar is build these portable vertiports, which is a simple, scalable, and modular solution, providing a landing platform for drones and air taxis, right? So our basic mantra at Kookiejar is to prepare the airspace and the ground infrastructure when the aircrafts are coming out in the next 2 years. And we see that most of the cities in different mega cities are not well equipped with the infrastructure that we are talking about here, like the vertiport systems that come alongside different technologies that we need. For example, Dr. Inam had mentioned you need to have communication ranges. For that, you need CNS nodes to communicate with the drones for different ranges. You need to have the UTM systems to oversee the airspace. You need to have electric charging stations to charge these drones and air taxis. and you need to have different kinds of systems. So these systems are not existing right now. So this is what we do at Kookiejar. So this is what we are doing in Sweden right now. The vision is to create a large network of vertiports in municipalities and cities. This is what we are doing in Sweden, in a small town called as Malardin, where we are helping the municipalities to educate them and empower them and allow them to see the value that these technologies bring to the citizens. So they have been quite proactive with us in helping them understand how do we place these vertiports in their cities, and how do you interconnect these vertiports from one part of the municipality to another in different cities? How do you define those air corridors? So this is what we have been doing in Sweden so far. And our strategy is more like bus stop strategy. We do not believe in building a vertiport with 30 landing locations and takeoff sites in one site. What we believe is to have 30 vertiports in 30 different locations, more like a bus stop strategy. So this is one of the survey that was done by the European Union Commission, that Europe will need one vertiport and drone landing site per 3,000 urban residents by 2036. And what about the regulations? And this is quite interesting in being in drone industry, all of us now. So everything is aligned, from getting type certification of the aircraft to standardizing the UTM systems in the airspace to standardizing the vertiports. So it's an interesting thing for us because we started last year, and the FAA and the HIASAs have streamlined the specifications and the standardization of the vertiports. So the regulations are going to be ready by 2024. And moreover, there are trilateral agreements signed between the FAA, EASA, and the Chinese Civil Aviation Authority to start a new era of cooperation and ensuring that they have high safety standards and all are on the same page in terms of communicating the aviation language that drones and air taxis possess. And this is our community in Sweden. So we are an air mobility ecosystem of vertiport operators, the USpace service providers, the drone operators, and IBG. So what we do in IBG is a sister company of Kookiejar Vertiports. So what we do is we provide urban planners and the airspace planners a blueprint in orchestrating how do you coordinate these airspace for different aircraft movements, for different volumes of aircraft, and for differing levels of services for municipalities and cities. How do you integrate these systems in an urban environment without posing any danger or hazard to the cities? How do you integrate these systems in an urban environment? Now, these are some of the challenging questions that we need to be answering first in order to deploy these systems. And we need to start to think that when these vehicles are type certified by their respective organizations in the next 2 years, we do not need to wait until that time to start building the infrastructure. We need to roll up our sleeves and start building the infrastructure right now, have those deep dialogues with cities and states and the central government, and the value these technologies bring to the citizens in those respective states and cities. Now, this is how you think the cities look like, the mega city look like in 2019. This was me in Bangalore taking a helicopter ride in 2019, and I was contemplating the burden the current transportation system is facing. And this is our time now. We need to start initiating dialogues with cities in building the infrastructure and educating them and empowering the state, central, and the local governments about the value these new technologies bring. So with that, I would like to conclude this presentation, the short and sweet presentation. I wouldn't want to keep you guys bored. So feel free to hit me up with any questions that you guys may have, or you can email me at wassaf@kookiejar.com.